right, what's up everybody? Okay, let's do our nightly sound check. Just give me a thumbs up if you could hear me. Let me know if the audio is good. Let me know if the visual is good, and if so, we will kick this off. So just give us one moment, and we'll get started. Alright, it looks like we're good. Well, good evening everybody, and welcome back to Walks and Wall Street. Today is November 17th. It is a Friday. Happy Friday everybody. We made it to the end of the week, and it's a beautiful day in the city. I mean, talk about absolutely picture perfect gorgeous in New York City. It's about 65 degrees. The wind is not too bad, actually. Wind is not too bad. Hopefully, I think our only hope is that this particular weather continues all the way into next week. It's already the week of Thanksgiving, which is kind of crazy. So I think as we look out to next week, the market's probably going to be a little bit tame, as the vast majority of, I would say, the United States kind of goes into a little bit of a down cycle going into next week. We have a few trading days next week, and then obviously the 23rd is a holiday, and 24th will probably be very, very low, little to no trading volume. We'll take a look at how the indices closed this particular week. The S&P 500 was pretty much flat today. It was up about 5 points, closing the week at 4,514. If we take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average at the Dow 30, the Dow is also about flat, up 1 point, finishing the week at 34,947. And then we'll take a look at the NDX, which is the tech-heavy, high-beta NASDAQ 100, also up about 4 points, pretty much flat, closing the week at 15,837. Now, one of the things that we're going to be talking about and writing about specifically, because I think this works a little bit better if you guys see a visual, we're going to talk about the concept of a follow-through day. Now, for a follow-through day, not every single follow-through day leads to a new bull market, but no new bull market has ever started without a follow-through day. All right, I'll say that one more time. Not every single follow-through day leads to a new bull market, but no bull market has ever started without a follow-through day. And this most recent follow-through day that we got at the beginning of the week has shown some power and has shown some pretty aggressive follow-through day, or some follow-through here, up about 5% from that pivot. So we're going to be writing about what that means, how to identify these, and sort of how to lever in our positions, right? If you trade or manage a portfolio actively through CAN-SLIM, right, which is sort of the investing methodology that was coined by William J. O'Neill, the founder of Investors Business Daily, who unfortunately passed away this year. We've been losing a lot of Wall Street legends in 2023, unfortunately. So Investors Business Daily, great newspaper, great publication. Also, O'Neill Securities is a great equity research firm. I get a lot of institutional research from them. Really, really top-of-the-line stuff. So we'll be writing about that in this week's Behind the Street newsletter that will be sent out on Friday, not Thursday, because this Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I think it's important for everybody to take the day to spend with your family and your friends and not really think about the financial markets. So that will be sent out on Friday. I want to quickly shift gears here, talk about commodities. We'll take a look at crude oil futures, ticker symbol CL. If my internet would work. I'm connected to my phone's hotspot, and I think I've exhausted almost all of it. Crude rallied a little bit. Now, we gapped down big on the open. Crude oil futures gapped down all the way to $72 a barrel. Rallied up throughout the day, closing at $76 dollars. We're still trading below the 200-day, and we're still trading very, very aggressively below the 50-day. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some additional follow-through and rally throughout next week. But as I've said, if I had to make a prediction, I do not think we will get back above $100 a barrel throughout the entirety of 2024. Now, that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. Usually we can use crude oil and some commodities as leading economic indicators in and of themselves. Specifically with one of the largest global economies, if not the largest, the United States, and number 2, China. Right? China was actually in the U.S., in Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area yesterday. I believe crude oil, the price of crude, is sort of forecasting a global slowdown. Now, this doesn't mean that we're automatically going to go into recession. It's just forecasting a global slowdown, which we will get into. But the good news is, as we head into the holiday season, as we head into Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, and Christmas, even into New Year's, Americans are going to be traveling all across the country, all across the globe, and we are going to be seeing some, I would say, muted prices at the pump, which is very good. Let's look at the DXY or the DXY, which is the dollar index or the U.S. dollar index that tracks the relative strength of the dollar versus a basket of other currencies. And the dollar has been taking a beating, right? We've had an intermediate term top in the dollar on October 3rd, and we've gone down ever since, closing the day at 103. Now, this is both good news and bad news. Now, generally speaking, it's good for corporate earnings, and particularly of companies abroad. Let's take a look at what's the ticker? EWW, I think, is the iShares Mexico ETF, right? Should be. Yeah, it is. So take a look at Mexico right now. Mexico's had a massive rally on the week. Usually when you have dollar lower, it's very good for emerging market countries, and particularly companies that deal mainly in emerging markets, right? This also benefits big multinational companies in the United States that do a lot of business abroad, right? We've talked about this before. If you remember during our live streams in 2021, one of the biggest, I would say, takeaways from corporate earnings in 2021 and into 2022 was that very, very strong U.S. dollar was eating into profits, right? Tim Cook said this. A lot of other big CEOs have said this that do a lot of business in foreign currency, because essentially when you sell in foreign currency but you report earnings in U.S. dollars, as you go to convert that foreign currency back to U.S. dollars, well, if it's a strong dollar, you could buy less and less and less U.S. dollars, right? So this is actually good. You're seeing the equity markets follow through. The S&P 500, NASDAQ, the Dow, and emerging markets are getting a bid, and we need to keep our eye on the dollar or the DXY, because that has been getting hammered over the course of the last month. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Let's go ahead and kick this off. I'm going to go ahead and close up my laptop here. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat, and we will be headed downtown towards 34th Street, Penn Station. We're going to take a look at Bryant Park on the way. We'll take a look at Rockefeller Center, and then we will end the stream at 34th Street, Herald Square, Macy's. Now, if you want to sign up for our free financial newsletter that will be sent out on Friday, you could scan the QR code on your screen, and that will bring you to our latest publication of the Behind the Street newsletter. Or you could type !news, NEWS, in the chat, and the Nightbot will drop the link to our Substack. And again, next week we will be publishing our 4th edition, or our 4th issue of the Behind the Street newsletter. We are not going to be doing that Thursday because of Thanksgiving. It will be sent out Friday, and we're going to do a deep dive into corporate earnings. We're going to be doing a deep dive into the retail sales report that came out this week, and we are going to do what I like to call step 2 of our yield curve analysis. If you remember from the last newsletter that I sent out last Thursday, we did a deep dive in how we should be interpreting the yield curve, right? How we should be building our financial models to account for where the yield curve is coming from, where the yield curve is currently, and most importantly, where the yield curve is going, what that means for corporate earnings, what that means for businesses investing in R&D, research and development, and more importantly, what it means for many of us consumers who may be first-time home buyers in 2024. All right, let me go ahead and put on my backpack and we'll get started. All right, clip on the microphone here. The only other thing, everybody, that I forgot to talk about during the introduction, did anybody see Ray Dalio, CEO and founder of Bridgewater Associates based in Connecticut? Ray Dalio made an appearance on CNBC earlier today, I believe a few hours before the closing bell, and it was an amazing interview, a must-watch. I was about to drop it in the chat.com, and it should be the first link on the website of Ray Dalio doing an interview with CNBC. But here we are, 59th Street, Columbus Circle, outside the Trump International Hotel and Tower. I see Jen Claus, Stephanie Gray, Richard Vogel, DLXX, Stephen Bate, Lilla is here. Who else do we have? Greg Miller, what's up? Florida, Jonathan. Sharon is here, what's up? Good to see everybody. Our good friend Hawaii, welcome. All of our friends in Miami, it's good to see you guys. Let me get rid of this QR code. Justin S., Bree Grams, Colton Manning, our very good moderator and our very good friend. Photos from around New York. It's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day in New York City, my friends. Let's see who else we have. Lori Crockett Owens, what's up? Marcio, Roscoe Hill, Positive, what's up? Good to see you. Vincent says, good evening, Tom. Another beautiful night in New York City, beautiful weather. It is. Let me try to adjust my camera. On my end, it seems a little bit fuzzy. Let's see. All right, let's actually walk the other way. Now this is Billionaires Row. You see Steinway Tower, 157, 220 Central Park South, and you have the beautiful Central Park Tower, which is awesome. Hey, NBA Elias says, hey Tom, hope you had a great week. I did, I really did. Sharon says, Tom, can you edit the title after posting? It says, oh, Midtown. Oh, we spelled Midtown wrong? That's hilarious. Yes, I will edit the title after posting. And apologies for being late, by the way. I was actually in this building, in 157. I had to go to a dinner. There's a really good restaurant inside 157. It's called The Living Room. I would highly recommend it to anybody. And I was there with a client. So hopefully we'll be getting some deals done. Meg, what's up? Good to see you. All right, we'll try to get away from the rickshaw guys tonight. But I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm not going to have too much time to relax per se. Tomorrow's going to be very busy. We just went live with a listing in Tribeca, 5 Franklin Place, apartment 8A. It's been on the market for about 2 weeks now. Tomorrow we're hosting an open house from the hours of 12 to 2, and that's an amazing building. So if anybody's in the neighborhood wants to stop by, shoot me an email. And Sunday, we'll be back in Red Hook, Brooklyn. We'll be back at the Conover, which is an amazing development. I'll give you guys a quick shot of the Deutsche Bank Tower right here. Hey, DLX. This is Tom. How do you find the energy to be so peppy at nearly 10 p.m. after putting in a full day at the office? I'm exhausted when I clock out at 5? I honestly don't know, to be honest. I think it has to be genetics. Just being fully honest, because it really shouldn't be that way. But also I think it's about repetition, right? I've always been very active, I should say. So maybe it's just my metabolism. Maybe it's, I always used to be a big runner. But yeah, I agree. It's kind of strange, right? Sometimes I'm working from, 8:30 till, well, I don't really consider the stream work, right? But when do we end the stream? 11? So 8 to 11, we're usually getting after it. But yeah, I'd probably say, I don't know. I think it's just once you do it and get used to it, your body adapts to your circumstance, I guess. That's really the only thing I could think of. Hey, Jonathan, thank you so much. Says, Tom, congratulations to your team. Next time, number 1. Yeah, that's what we're shooting for. So thank you to everybody, all the viewers, all of our clients, our customers. So for the month of October, so last month, the Kirsten Jordan team, so our sales team here that specializes in luxury real estate in New York City, we did the second most volume in all of New York City. The first was Noble Black, and he is an unbelievable broker, great guy, just the best of the best, the cream of the crop, pretty much what you're dealing with. He actually just went live with a listing on the 83rd floor, the entire 83rd floor of 157. Unbelievable place. It went under contract within 2 weeks. So, fingers crossed that'll close, but, things are still going fast if it's prime product, right? And you can't get a better product than the entire 83rd floor at 157 on Billionaires Row. So, it's amazing. But yes, that's the goal. The goal that I have written down in my journals for next year, so January to December, I want to be number 1 sales team in New York City every month. And I think we could do it. I think we just need to put in a little bit more work. We need to be a little bit more strategic, and we got to get those big top dollar listings and continue to prospect and network and service our customers and clients to the best of our ability. And that's what we are steadfast to do. So, hey, Gary Carpenter, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Brad's Brain, the one and only. This is exercise, which you get nightly, creates energy. Everyone should exercise at least 5 days a week, in my opinion. I definitely agree. Your body will adapt and sort of mend to your lifestyle. Now, I remember all the way back, a million years ago in my college days, when we would train for our preseason. Oh, look at this guy. New York is so versatile. You have horses trotting around. You have insanely tall Billionaires Row-esque buildings. It's quite the amazing place. But anyway, I remember during preseason, when we would be training for soccer, we would have to log over 40 miles a week. And they would make us wear this little band, and they would track how many miles we did. So you could never lie about it, because they gave you this little sports band, and they would make sure you did 40 miles a week. And if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be able to practice, you wouldn't have playing time. So, doing that 40 miles a week, at 9-minute mile pace for years, I think it's sort of morphed my body into kind of being on the go all the time. This is 7th Avenue. This is one of my favorite shots to get an amazing photo of Central Park Tower. Alan says, do you work 7 days a week? I mean, I wouldn't really say I do, honestly. Now, am I doing something work-related every day? Yeah. But it's not like I'm doing deep work for 12 hours. And I was reading an interesting blog post from the CEO of Y Combinator. I'm blanking on his name. It's been a long week, so my brain kind of goes downhill on Friday nights. But the CEO and founder of Y Combinator did a post on this, where he's like, a lot of founders, and even people who just work a lot, they're not really doing deep work for a full 12 hours a day, right? You may be doing deep work for 5, right? And then you're doing all these other micro tasks for the remainder. I would probably say that's how I structure my day, right? It's not like I'm currently engaged in deep work for the duration of the 12 hours, right? Give or take, it's probably like 4 or 5 hours of deep work. And then it's, running down people, trying to get a hold of them, prospecting, making calls, setting appointments, going out to lunches, showing people things, and, then, doing research so I can do the streams, for example. Managing my own portfolio, managing my money, journaling and writing little things that I think would be appropriate to put in the newsletter that I send you guys out, every other week. So things like that. I wouldn't say it's like a grueling 12-hour days. It's more of a, you're doing deep work for probably 4 or 5 of those hours, and then, I don't know, would you guys say that's sort of how you structure your day? I don't think that really anybody does really, really deep work for 12 hours. I don't even think that's possible. Look at this. This is 432 Park Avenue. Stunning here. This is also a nice building too, the Barcliff. Jennifer Johnson says, Tom, any more data on Fidelity Contra? It's a great mutual fund. Yeah, I don't have any exposure to mutual funds, but I will, let's say if I'm initiating coverage on a stock or on a company, right? I'll look at the institutional ownership of that stock, because that's important, right? That's very, very important. If you have a company that's churning out, very, very good earnings, very good sales, all the metrics that I look for, return on equity, pre-tax, after-tax margins, but there's no institutional sponsorship, there's none of the big, mutual funds on Wall Street that own the name, that's a pretty big red flag. And I'll give you a really good example of this. A few years ago, does anybody remember the stock Luckin Coffee? It used to trade under the ticker symbol LK. Now, it's still a company, right? It's an actual coffee company, but it was listed, I believe, on the NYSE. I think it trades OTC. I don't know.
Love your YouTube channel.
Oh, hey, thank you so much. Take care. That was a nice guy. But I think it trades OTC now. Could anybody verify this or not? But anyway, it's a real company. But it turns out that they were cooking the books, right? They were embellishing their sales numbers a little bit and their earnings. But it's not a fraudulent company. They were just like the management, let's say if they had $100 million in revenue, they were reporting to Wall Street and investors that they were churning out like 150 million, right? Just as an example. So it turns out, I'm going to buy that stock. I was going to be an investor. And I was like, none of the big mutual funds that hire all the best and brightest people, right, from all the big colleges, universities, no one's owning this stock. And that really was like a head scratch to me. So I sent it to, a bunch of my fellow friends who, are hedge fund managers on the street, and they all said the same thing. They're like, this company's has everything we look for. 25% plus revenue growth quarter over quarter, 25% plus EPS growth quarter over quarter. But there was not one big mutual fund like Fidelity Contra Fund, the Barron funds, all the major funds that outperform, right, the indices, none of them owned it. And essentially there's a reason why, right? Somebody's usually in the know, and the analysts, equity research people who work for Fidelity or, Goldman Sachs, Barron funds, like Ron Barron. These are very smart people, and they're very, very difficult to fool and trick. So they can sort of, understand and have the inside scoop most of the time on what's going on the ground floor of these companies. And it turns out, the stock was delisted because the C-suite was fraudulently cooking the books. So I think it's important to know the top performing mutual funds on the street, right? Know their 10-year track records, but it's not enough to look at a mutual fund and say, wow, they did 110% this year, right? That could have been a fluke. So what you want to do is you want to look at the longevity of the fund. Do they have sustainable track record in beating the benchmark or the market? And if so, you want to watch them, right? You don't necessarily want to buy into them. You just want to watch what they're doing and not copy trade. But if you're covering a stock and you're interested in buying that said stock, one of the things that you should do is say, okay, who else on the street is either initiating a position in this, has a position in this, or is actually accumulating? And Fidelity Contra is definitely one of those that I look for 100%. Hey, Abdullah, what's up? The Papa Smurf OG, it's good to see you. FDNY is in the house. Thanks so much for joining us here again today. NBA Elias, Tom, if the economic statistics and profits are good, why do Americans feel so bad? By more than 3 to 1, those surveyed says the economy was getting worse, not improving. I think it's mainly because of the just the bifurcated economy we have. There's a lot of people in the United States doing really, really well, like exceptionally well, but there's also a lot of people that are not doing so well. That would be my number one reason. Now, I don't know if that's the actual case, but number two, what I think is, hold on, somebody get away from these people. I think it's honestly social media exacerbating the fear, right? Now, I sort of keep a mental note and a running audit on this. Like, think about all of the very big channels out there. Like, not only on YouTube, but, even some of the most famous equity research analysts or the biggest short sellers, like Jim Chanos, which just closed down his hedge fund, by the way. That was a big piece of news on Wall Street. Famous short seller Jim Chanos, he's done. He closed up shop. Now, the guy is, a multi-millionaire 20, 50 times over, probably 100 million times over. But he closed down his hedge fund. But that's besides the point. I think with access to information, right, there's the only videos that I see on YouTube or even segments on CNBC that have the most views are people calling for, the decline of the United States, the systemic societal breakdowns of the U.S. Stock market crash is going to be worse than 1987. The housing market's going to be another 2008. And those are the videos that churn out millions of views. And I think that really has a fundamental part of it, right? Because fear sells. Now, maybe that's a little bit of an anecdote, right? But I do believe that could be a potential reason why many Americans are so pessimistic, right? Because even if, I'll give you an example. A lot of people send me emails, right? People who watch the stream, and the number one email I get is from people sending me YouTube videos from other YouTube channels, and the title will be, prepare now, the end is near, the Dow is going to drop, 30,000 points, and then, sometimes I'll entertain it if I'm, bored, and I'll click on the video and I'll watch it. And then it says, this video is brought to you by, Preparedness Now Ready Canned Food. Buy your canned food in the link in the description and prepare. So you can have all of these MREs, or meals ready to eat. And then it's just 20 minutes of a guy spewing just like hyperbolic things about how the economy is going to crash, the dollar is going to go to zero, the CCP is going to take over the world, and we need to prepare and go hide in the woods. Now, obviously, these videos, right, are very, well done. There's, dramatic music in the background, and it's all, it looks nice. And fear sells in a big way. So I think that's why a lot of Americans are pessimistic. Now, again, maybe that's anecdotal, but I think the most important thing is we've had a little bit of a lopsided recovery since the 2008 financial crisis, right? And that is clear. That is indisputable. We've had a lopsided recovery since the great financial crisis, where interest rates and money has been cheap for so long, but there's been a specific class or a specific section of our society that have had access to those funds, right? Very, very, very seldom, if you look at the percentage of that money that has gone to, small businesses, lower class, middle class people, as opposed to the percentage that have, been borrowed by big institutions, big companies, ultra high net worth individuals. It's extremely lopsided, right? And those corporations have used that money to buy back their stock, to expand their businesses, and things like that. And that has really caused the inflation of asset prices. I'm trying to walk away from the noise here. I feel like it's a very, very noisy night here in Manhattan. Like crazy, crazy noisy tonight. Now, this is 53 West 53rd Street. This is a building that's technically not on Billionaires Row, but it's considered Billionaires Row, just because of the high luxury and high quality of the building. But I don't know. I know that was a big, long tangent, long tirade. Anybody agree or disagree with that? Do we think that the media and what people are consuming is making them more pessimistic on the country, right? Or do we think that's way, way overkill? Because I have an open mind. Maybe it's not. So, hey, 456 is Tom for software developers. That's a good way to figure out which private company / startup is good to join. Oh, what's a good way to figure out which private company / startup is good to join? Well, if you're a software engineer or a software developer, what I would do is figure out what you like to do, right? What type of software and what type of products do you like building and engineering? And then I would go pursue those things. If you're solely interested in just, spending the first, 10 years of your career trying to make as much money as possible, I would say, okay, what is the largest total addressable market out there? Or the TAM. And I would go work at a startup that sits in a very, very fast growing TAM, total addressable market. We've written about this before. And I think, in my opinion, and just because I have an opinion doesn't mean I'm right, by the way. I just like to make that clear. So the things I say on this stream that are opinions, it doesn't mean they'll all be right. They could totally be wrong. But if I was a software engineer, a software developer, in this particular environment, I'm just entering the workforce, I would say, you know what? I think I want to go work in cybersecurity at a cybersecurity firm. I would do some research on how much that industry or sector is going to grow over the next 5-10 years. And I would go work at a company that is growing its revenues and growing its earnings power at a very, very rapid rate. And I would go work there, get experience, right? Learn the ropes, and then maybe build your own company, right? And once you have the experience working at a pure play cybersecurity company, maybe do your own thing, and then you could sell it, right? And have a pretty big exit. All right, everybody, this is the University Club here. It's so stunning. just to look at the ceiling of this building. The crown moldings are amazing. Just really, really stunning here. You can see all the buildings putting up their Christmas decorations for the holidays, which is great. All right, let me catch up on some of the chats. Hey, pizza's inflation is making people more pessimistic in this country. I'd agree with that. Tom H says, I think the media has an agenda to shout out, whether it be Fox or MSNBC. Only way to get an unbiased opinion is to read reputable, unbiased newspaper. I agree. Peter Webley says, go visit a food pantry anywhere in New York City. They are running out of food daily. NBA Elias says, every time I watch CNN, Fox, MSNBC, I come away feeling like the world is going to end tomorrow. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, look at what the garbage that, my friend sent me an article today. The brainwashing platform TikTok is pushing out and funneling like Osama bin Laden's manifesto to all these woke teenagers, right? So yeah, of course, if you sit on TikTok all day and consume Osama bin Laden, you're probably going to be pretty bummed out, right? I mean, I'd be too if I was listening to a jihadist, all day. Like, come on. All right, let's walk a little bit further up towards the GM building. Charles Boyd, thank you so much for your $40 or $50 donation. I appreciate it very much. Wow, guys, I don't know if the microphone kind of mutes the noise a little bit, but it is so loud on those machines, it is crazy. And I have so much respect and admiration for construction workers. I mean, if it's loud and I can barely hear myself think 2 blocks away, how do you think the guy feels that's operating that machine? I mean, that's some real hard, heavy labor, and I respect that a great deal. So big shout out to all of our construction workers, men and women who build this great country. I mean, I don't have the guts to do that. Just to be quite honest. I mean, that's manual labor there. And you're listening to that thing blowing out your ears for 10 hours a day. That deserves some incredible respect there. But Charles, thank you so much for your very generous, very kind $50 donation. That is very generous of you, and I definitely appreciate you. All right, let's head a little bit further uptown just to kind of get away from the rickshaw guys and the drilling machines. But yeah, just to sort of jump back to the career-related question. That's what I would do. And there's a lot of lucrative opportunities, but the big opportunities address the biggest market. And I think you're going to learn a lot too. And guys, I mean, think about it like this. We're going into 2024 in about a month. And I was on the earnings call for Palo Alto Networks, and they said that on a year-over-year basis, ransomware attacks globally were up 36% year over year. I'll say that again. According to Palo Alto Networks, which is one of the world's leading cybersecurity companies, they said in 2023, ransomware attacks or cyber attacks globally were up about 36% year over year. What do we think? I mean, if you just had to guess, right? Going into 2024, which is going to be an election year in the United States, do we think cyber attacks are going to be up or down next year, right? If you just had to guess, right? Even if you don't have too much inside scoop on cybersecurity, would you say that the presidential election in the United States, do you think there's going to be foreign entities and domestic entities trying to meddle in the election by cyber attacks and cybercrime? I'm going to guess yes, okay, just out of like a genius guess here. So I think the trend, unfortunately, right, of cyber criminals globally trying to demand ransom from not only corporations but nation states is going to explode next year, and that will benefit cybersecurity companies, right? Because there's going to be increased spending on cybersecurity software, products, and infrastructure. Now, one of the biggest takeaways from the Palo Alto earnings report was the following, and this is kind of ironic because we wrote about this, and I said, now that the cost of money is much, much more expensive than it was in, say, 2021. Corporations are looking to cut costs, right? I always give the example of Mark Zuckerberg and Meta. He actually named it a company-wide operation called the Year of Efficiency at Meta, where they've cut costs drastically and they blew out over 25% of their employees to cut costs. Now, at a lot of other companies, they do that as well, but what they also do is they cancel any of their nice-to-have software or SaaS products. So if you don't absolutely need it, if it's not a necessity, okay, if it's not an absolute necessity, it's gone. It's going to be churned out. So cybersecurity is not a nice-to-have piece of software. It's a must-have, or you're not going to have a business, right? So that is going to be the last thing that is cut. Now, one of the key pieces, or I would say the key details that came out of that earnings report was the following. And Wall Street actually interpreted this as a negative. And it's the following. Companies want to add and spend more on cybersecurity. But what's deterring them or preventing them from doing that right now is just the cost of capital is very, very expensive, right? But they know that they have to do it. They know they have to make the investment. So big companies like Palo Alto, Zscaler, CrowdStrike, since they have robust balance sheets, they can sort of work with the customers by doing deferred payments. They can put them on payment plans and other special financing. So even in the light of corporations and governments, municipalities, school districts, and the like, dealing with more expensive money, they're still looking to allocate budget to spending on cybersecurity, right? Even though they can't afford it, they know that they have to do it. So I would be looking to those type of opportunities where the spending is going to be forced, or else you're just not going to even have a company. Hey, Ali Star's here. Good to see you. Thanks so much. Jen Claus is Quiet Street for a Friday. I think it's crazy loud in the city tonight. I feel like every street we've walked down, there's clanging and banging, there's trucks, there's people ripping up the street, there's rickshaw guys playing that New York song over and over. I feel like it's very loud tonight. Hey, Tom H. Good to see you, Tom. This is exponentially. It has even impacted. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Huh. John's is public transportation. Okay, yes, guess. Uh-huh. All right, let's head towards the GM building, which is right here. But this is right outside the Plaza Hotel, and I think it's decorated quite nice. I like the solid white trees here. It looks beautiful. But if you haven't read that article, or sort of little excerpt I wrote about cybersecurity, I did break it down in our newsletter. If you scan the QR code on your screen, it'll take you to our Substack link. And I write about these topics quite often. I send it out every other Thursday after the market closes. And if you can't scan the QR code, you can type !news, NEWS, in the chat. And the Nightbot will drop the link to our Substack, and we will send that out on Friday, because this Thursday is Thanksgiving. And that's all of our equity research for free. If you have the Substack app, you can read all of our archived research, and you can listen to it as well in an audio podcast version that's recorded. Now, this is the very front of the Plaza Hotel. Let's see if we can go in there. What do you guys think? Think they'll kick us out? We'll be respectful. We'll go in the lobby. We'll see if they decorate it with the Christmas decorations. DLX says, Tom, everybody rushed to buy Zoom during the pandemic, but remote work doesn't work if employees' PCs aren't secure and compliant. I agree with that 100%. But also, you know, Microsoft Teams is free in your MS365 stack. So I think Zoom video is more of a nice to have, because you have, what do you call it? Microsoft Teams for free. Ah, that's true. John says, you asked where CyberSpike is. I'm saying in public infrastructure, but not in corporate. Yeah, I mean, particularly in 2024, right? I think you're right. And maybe even, you know, cyber criminals will start to attack the less I would say the less protected, right? So not a federal level, but a state and local government level. I think you're right. I actually think you're right. Hey, Tiffs. Hey, Tom, good to see you. Did you go inside the plaza? We did not. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. It seems a little bit too busy in there. I don't want to disrupt or interrupt anybody. But I'll take you guys to the Cartier building, because that's all lit up now for the holidays, which looks great. Jufet Perez says cybersecurity needs cybersecurity. I agree. Now, Okta had a really, really big, massive breach that exposed thousands of customers' information. So generally, I agree with you. This is another good shot of 220 Central Park South. You can really get a sense of how skinny the building is all the way over here. It's wild. Yeah, Captain Price, that's true. OpenAI, they fired the CEO, which is insane, right? Now, there was so much stuff flying around on Twitter about it today. And I actually chose not to read any of it, because when something as big as this happens, I call it the fog of war. And we don't really know exactly what's going on. So I think in about 2 weeks, we'll know exactly why he got fired. Now, so far, what we know from the little teeny thing I read and then I just closed it, is that they were alleging that he was being dishonest to the board. I don't know if that's true. So I think in 2 weeks we'll know the exact answer, what happened. But, some people say that's going to be a pretty big blow to Microsoft. I actually don't think so. Captain Price is probably government involved. Maybe, actually. You may be right about that. Someone says blame Joe Rogan. All right, back on 57th Street. Hey, Brian Glover, what's up? Yeah, I'm just brushing through the chats about it. I'm seeing some interesting... Mark Anthony says, hey, Tom, what do you... think about Cisco? I always hear you mention Palo Alto, Zscaler, CrowdStrike, but never talk about Cisco. Yeah, I just never, those are the main three that I cover because they have the most explosive sales and earnings power. And from having experience selling some of their products, I think they're poised to lead, right? And usually what happens, hold on one second. Usually what happens is the cream rises to the top for a reason. And when I was in tech sales, almost every single CIO was leaning Palo Alto. They had, Palo Alto Networks hardware and routers already, and they had their vice scripts in all these companies already, pretty much. So when you're talking about a stock, there's been studies done, and I'll give you a good book recommendation. The book is called Life Cycle Trade by Eve Bobach and Kathy Donnelly. And it's mainly a book about IPOs, but there's a section on there about true market leaders in sectors. So the leader in the sector, the true leader will go up 300% more than the second best stock in the sector. So if you're in the fourth or the fifth best name, I mean, you're going to be losing out on a lot of potential returns. So I'll say that again. The leading stock in the sector, on average, goes up in its cycle 300% more than the second best stock. So I think it's important. We'll sort of weave and bob through the side streets tonight. I think it's important to focus on the leader. Like, go to the leader. One of my good friends, who's a hedge fund manager out of Chicago, he always says, don't settle for the second best, right? If you have the opportunity to buy the best, right, in any sector, in any stock, in anything, why would you go for the second best or the third best? You want to be in the true market leader. So, I don't know. Those are kind of the reasons. I'm not saying that those stocks are better than the others, but based on previous performance, obviously is not going to guarantee a future outcome. But
Hey, Mark Anthony, thank you so much. This is Hey Tom, hope you're doing well. I always look forward to your great streams. Thank you so much, Mark Anthony. I appreciate it. You know, John is talking about Meraki. I had one of my first customers ever. Two of my first customers, number one was this company called Droga 5. It was an advertising agency in Lower Manhattan. But also one of my first customers was a pest management company. And they used that MDM, Meraki. And I guess sort of not related, but you'd be surprised. You know, you look at these little, and they're in a little teeny office space in Brooklyn. The company, I guess I'll give them a shout out. Great people over there. Colony Pest Management in Brooklyn, New York. It's run by a family, you know, generations of family in Brooklyn own this company, this pest management company, out of a little teeny, you know, hole-in-the-wall place in Brooklyn, New York. And they kill it. They crush it. Let's just say that. And the vast majority of those businesses, right, there's tons of them all around the country. They run all their operations on physical pieces of paper still. And this was back in maybe 2014 when they were just starting to migrate a lot of their paperwork to digital, to the cloud. But even still, even without having a CRM, even without having, you know, paperless forms, they crushed it. So imagine what these companies can do and how big that they can grow if they have the appropriate infrastructure to really scale. I mean, the opportunity is really big, pretty endless. Oh my God, Mendez says apparently Samsung Knox is more secure than Apple. Whenever I hear the term Samsung Knox, I start to have like these very aggressive heart palpitations. I have a personal vendetta against Samsung Knox. I cannot stand Samsung Knox. Oh my God, that is the most janky, horrible piece of software in the world. That doesn't even work well on Samsung phones. And the reason why I know this is because, you know, again, back in my tech sales days, as we're walking down Fifth Avenue here, I had a big account. I landed a big customer called Ultimate Care. They're one of the largest home health care agencies in the state of New York. And I helped and aided in their transition to EVV software, right? Electronic visit verification. So the home health aides, instead of, you know, writing on physical pieces of paper what, you know, times they worked, and if they administered medication, they did a total transformation to the cloud. And it was a big success, except Samsung Knox. I was in the office sometimes to 2 o'clock in the morning dealing with that, trying to implement it, troubleshoot it. Oh my God. The worst piece of software ever with no support. And we sold about 2,000 licenses of Knox, enterprise software license. After about a year, we canceled all of them and we sold 3,000 licenses of CodeProof. This company called CodeProof, which at the time, since I was selling so much Samsung Knox, and the deals, you know, were sort of going sideways because the software was horrible, I met this guy, Shatif, And you can look at, he's on LinkedIn, and he created this company called Codeproof, and he was one of the founding developers of Knox, actually. Satish is his name, Satish. And I'm like, Satish, listen, you're killing me with this Knox thing. It sucks. So he goes off, and at the time, right, he starts up this company, Codeproof, and he's like, Tom, I was one of the founding members of Samsung Knox, and now I'm launching this company called Codeproof, and you could start to sell this and use it. And I've never had one problem with this piece of software, ever. It's scalable, it works, it's great, and yeah, the company is called Codeproof. It's fantastic. But I don't know, I never had a good experience with Samsung Knox. I don't know why. Captain Price says you need to root phone, and if you trust me, we did everything. All right, so this is the Cartier building. This is stunning to look at. This is one of my favorite buildings that is lit up for the holidays. Look at that. Now, usually they have this lit up with the main, I would say what is the main logo for Cartier? The Jaguar or the cheetah? But this year they have a little bit of a different setup, and I think it looks good. It looks beautiful. I like how they don't go too over the top, right? It's just the classic white against a sort of marble background with the red outer trim. I think it looks really good. Looks fantastic. Hey, Jonathan says, how many hot dogs do they sell in New York City? I see vendors on every corner. Well, I used to tell this really horror story about those food carts, but I can't tell it anymore because the stream was a little bit too big. And I think it may impact business there. But in my personal opinion, I would never eat at one of those carts ever again. I'll just say that. Man, this building is stunning. Hey, Lance says, hey, Tom and everybody, just got back from Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, from Wall Street for dinner. How is everybody? Everything is going good with me. How was, oh yeah, you went to, which steakhouse did you go to? Downtown near Wall Street. I remember you were telling us you were going to go to one last night. Let me know how it went. Hey Theo, what's up? Good to see you from Tampa, Florida. Hope you're doing well. We're right outside of the Cartier store. We're going to be walking down to 34th Street. IPD says, have you been to Delmonico's since it reopened? Not since it reopened, actually, no. Have you? What are your thoughts about it? You recommend it? Not recommend it? Yeah, I have not been since it reopened. DLXX says, you would not eat food from mobile carts if you saw where the carts are stored at night. Yes. And I know where they're stored at night. They're stored not too far away from DeWitt Clinton Park, which is on the west side near Hell's Kitchen. I have horror stories about that. Oh, disgusting, crazy. All right, this is the beautiful St. Patrick's Cathedral with the double beautiful American flag flying in the breeze to signify and as a reminder that you're in the greatest city in the greatest country that was ever created. Beautiful, beautiful day, or I should say night out in the city. We'll check out some of the huge cast iron doors here. These things are so heavy. They don't look that big from afar, but when you're standing right next to it, these things are massive, huge. Incredible detail too. Oh my gosh. The doors must be like 1 ton or more. I know Brian Glover's is very gorgeous, amazing. I would say St. Patrick's and St. Thomas Church, which is a little bit further down, are fantastic. Oh, nice. Sham says, Tom, I'm taking the kids to see the tree at Rockefeller Center tomorrow. Oh, that's awesome, man. Let's check it out tonight, and we'll give you a little bit of a precursor of what you're going to see tomorrow. The weather should be good. Weather should be good. It should be 60 degrees pretty much all weekend, which is fantastic. Enjoy your time at Rockefeller Center tomorrow. Looks like they're still putting up the Christmas display on the side of Saks Fifth Avenue. You can see a little bit of the Empire State Building in the background too. Look at this. I don't think they're going to officially unveil this. But you can see a little bit of a sneak peek of some of the windows. This one's cool. There's like a black film over it, so it doesn't come out that well on the camera. And this is on the side of the building. You can see the work crews probably putting up some lights on there. Hey, Blues Writers, hey Tom, which is better, turkey, honey baked ham, or a nice tenderloin for Thanksgiving? I'm a turkey guy. I mean, some years we've had like a roast beef. It just doesn't really feel like Thanksgiving if you do that though. So I'd say turkey. Turkey is my go-to. What about you? Oh, look at this. You have the Statue of Liberty inside this little snow globe. Look at that. I think that looks cool. And they have the whole Manhattan skyline in the back too. Now across the street There it is, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, all the way in the background. Clarence Jackson says, Tom, we're having a Peking duck for Thanksgiving. Very nice. How do you cook that, by the way, Clarence?
Yeah, I guess they work on it all night.
Just in the oven, I guess? Look at this one. This one has a helicopter. I love those 3 American flags right there. My favorite is around Veterans Day, so like last week, when every single flag around Rockefeller Center is an American flag. I think that looks the best. Also, during the 4th of July too. During the 4th of July, they'll have every flag being an American flag around there. Looks great. Hey, Andrew, what's up? Thank you so much for your 5 CAD donation. Says that is a pretty sight. Need window decoration, or nice window decorations indeed. Hopefully you'll be able to come down to New York City and check it out for yourself. Take a little trip from Canada down to New York City. But thank you so much for your very generous donation. I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel and the stream. Let's check out Rockefeller Center. They may have closed it actually for the, I don't know. I see barricades. I don't know what it's for though. Let's check it out. I think they're letting people through. Looks pretty good. Let's see how many people are ice skating at the ice skating rink. But if you guys are enjoying the live a lot more people than earlier this week. For a Friday night, it's pretty good. And it looks like there's a pretty big line down there too. People waiting to get on. All right, let's continue on. Let's check out the front doors of Rockefeller Center. All right, and this is the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. That's covered in scaffolding, just like much of the city is covered in scaffolding. Sandbanks is, I wonder how much it costs. I think it's $20 or $17 to $20 to skate here. I believe Bryant Park is free because it is sponsored by Bank of America, Brian Moynihan. But I think they did a good job. It looks nice. I don't think they have finished decorating it though, because usually there's more. Remember all the angels that are usually lined up leading towards the ice skating rink? Maybe it's coming soon. But this is towards Radio City Music Hall. You're going to be able to see the Christmas tree on top of Radio City. And then we'll make a left on Avenue of the Americas. Hey, Jules is here. It says, Dear Tom, amazing to catch this evening. Congratulations on the amazing news. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. It is very much appreciated. Hope everything's well with you. You can start to see the foot traffic picking up as we head closer. Into Midtown. You can see the tree on top. We'll cross to see it from the other side. But then I want to walk directly in front of Rockefeller Center on the 6th Avenue side. And they finally put up the Christmas bulbs there. We'll check that out too. Now, right outside of the Jimmy Fallon entrance of the studios, some people broke, or I would say busted, all of the glass during the fiery but mostly peaceful protest that took place today. So we'll see if they replace the glass or it's still boarded up. But this is a really good view of the Christmas tree on top of Radio City Music Hall right from this spot. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? I think they did an amazing job with that. I think it looks great. Keith's is odd. Some people are in short sleeves. Yeah, I mean, it's hot. I'm actually about to take off my jacket. It's like 65 degrees. It feels like a summer day here. But it looks beautiful. All right, let's continue to cross down. I think that would make an amazing black and white photo. I agree. You know, when it's 65 in New York City, particularly in the winter, it feels like it's 75. It feels like a summer day. Particularly after a very, very long and harsh winter, that first day of 55 degrees feels like the middle of summer. I think this is the first full day that they have these up. I don't remember them being here last night. Hey, AUS Fly Girl says, hey Tom, congratulations on your continued success. Welcome to the kickoff to a lovely weekend, one and all. Thank you so much, AUS Fly Girl. I appreciate it very, very much. Hey, Theo says your new logo is superb, easier to find you on YouTube. Thank you. And a big thank you to one of our viewers who actually made it for free for us. So we have a new logo here on Walks in Wall Street, and we have a new logo for our newsletter, the Walks in Wall Street Behind the Street newsletter. So thank you. I think it looks good, so thank you for your fantastic work. Wow, this looks really cool. This must be the first day that they've had these up. Because I walked past here yesterday and they didn't have it up. This looks great. I think New York City does the best job with the Christmas decorations out of any city in the United States, by far. I don't think it's a debate. New York City is very, very iconic for that. Now, I think Lance said he went to a steakhouse in Lower Manhattan. This is one of my favorite steakhouses, Del Frisco's, it's called. This place is great. It's expensive, but it's really, really nice. I usually sit on the second floor. And you can see the Empire State Building through these two buildings here. Looks like there's going to be more decorations in these big boxes here too. Jennifer, thank you for joining us. Have a fantastic night and a much deserved and enjoyable weekend. Thank you so much for the continued support. I'm trying to look at the glass over there. I think they must have replaced it in record time. Let's see. Oh no, I see one small panel boarded up. But besides that, I think they replaced the entire thing. don't know, you could see a little bit. But I mean, it mostly looks great. It's very swift response, I guess. Oh, that's probably why they have the barricades up. Yeah, it looks like they've replaced them. That's good. Oh, they have one more to do. So this one, the revolving doors were all smashed out too. Yeah, I mean, they replaced that in record time. It's like it never even happened. Hey, Blues Riders, Tom, did you hear about that seizure yesterday in New York? $1 billion worth of counterfeit goods. I did not hear about it, but I believe it. But those counterfeit goods have been going on in New York City for years and years and years before I was born. Now, what counterfeit goods are you talking about? Like the ones that they sell in Chinatown? Those counterfeit goods, or was it something else? Hey, Dan Sang, what's up? Hey Tom, just finished my last day of training for the Queen's Marathon on Sunday. Oh, that's right, Dan. Good luck with that, by the way. We're wishing you all the best. I'm sure you're going to crush it. And it should be good weather for the race, too. Right? Sunday is probably going to be 65 degrees yet again. This is News Corporation. Looks like they're putting up their Christmas tree, too. Blues Rider says yes, purses, watches, etc. It was the biggest seizure in history. Now, I wonder why they just randomly do it, right? Do you know what I'm talking about, Blues Rider? Because, I mean, since I was born, I mean, even before I was born, they were obviously selling counterfeit goods in Chinatown. It's been going on forever. I wonder why they just randomly raid just at random times. I wonder why that is. Because if you've ever walked down Canal Street during the middle of the day, I mean, the whole street is just counterfeit goods laying out in the open. You know, people dealing drugs, you know, right in front of the police officers. Maybe they have to build a case and, I don't know. Who knows? All right, let's head down by Bank of America Tower. And maybe we'll go inside Bryant Park. Look at all these police barricades here. They're definitely getting ready for the tourist season. Next week, you guys will be able to see on the live stream. It's going to be like navigating. It's going to be like sardines. They're going to be packed in here. It's going to be crazy. There's so many tourists that come and visit, particularly around this neighborhood where all the holiday stuff is. It's going to be busy. It's going to be crazy. Look at all these rickshaw guys. Crazy, there's so many. All right, let's make a left on 42nd Street and head down to Grand Central Station. Yeah, DLXX, it's mainly probably to prevent jaywalking, but also for the parade too. Take a detour this way.
Okay.
This plaza here is brand new. This used to be all under construction. This looks really good now. So I will be back in South Florida December 1st through the 10th. So I'll be spending a little over a week down in Miami in the next week here, which I am very, very much looking forward to. Now I'll probably the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and maybe the 4th. So the 1st of December through the 4th, there'll probably be no streams, but I'll probably just put out the standalone videos as well as the newsletter. But that's probably the rotation I'm going to be on now, right? A month in New York of solid, heavy pound the pavement work. 1 week rotation off in South Florida with 4 days off, where I can sort of regroup, get everything ready at the house, change out the tenants, and work on our new venture that we're launching down there in South Florida. So our team is going to be launching an office operations in Mid-Beach, Miami, Q1 of 2024, which we're really excited about. And also, I have to say thank you guys, and thank you to all of our clients, and particularly all of the viewers of Walks on Wall Street and everybody who reads our newsletter. Last month, the month of October, we were the number 2 real estate sales team in all of New York City. So out of every broker in New York City, we placed number 2, which is a big accomplishment. And that's only possible because of the support of our clients, our customers, and you guys who watch the stream, right? Believe it or not, this stream helps with a lot of exposure to our projects, particularly the one in Brooklyn in the Conover. So the more you guys watch and participate, it really does help out the business. So thank you all, and hopefully going into next year, we could be number one. Because the more successful we are, the more funds are allocated to our team to grow, and maybe we'll have some super exciting things coming next year. So that's the goal. I think 2024 is going to be an amazing year. And who knows, maybe we'll have some unbelievably amazing, exciting surprises for everybody. As you know, my boss, Kirsten Jordan, I'm on her team. She was the first female cast member on $1 Million Listing New York. They did cancel the show because of the Big C, but you never know. 2024, something could come back, maybe on a different network. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. So, but I could say this. I think in 2024, 2025, there's going to be something big and something very exciting that has to involve New York City and Miami real estate. And hopefully that'll involve our team. So it'll be cool to see. All right, we're now outside of the New York Public Library, the Stephen Schwarzman building. Well, we're gonna head to Grand Central Station. One look here. Desi says, can we see what you look like? Yeah, just check out, if you type !Thomas, you could look at my bio. You can read all about our team. And this is Salesforce Tower. The views from Salesforce Tower are unbelievable. Amazing, amazing place. Oh, we got an ambulance. Hopefully everybody's all right. I was always told the more hectic the ambulance looks, the better news it is actually. So if they're blowing red lights, have their sirens on, that's actually good news for the person who's in the back of that bus, which means they probably has a chance of living, which is good. So, hey, Colton Manning, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Hopefully you'll be making your way to New York City very soon. We're right outside of PwC. Stephen Bates says those paramedics have a stressful job, especially in New York City. I mean, imagine being a paramedic in New York City, particularly in one of the boroughs like, you know, Brooklyn or the Bronx, where you see a lot of action. I mean, that's honestly doing God's work there. And I think they're very, very much underappreciated. You make a really good point, Stephen, about that. Because you don't only deal with, you know, people who are, you know, obviously sick and distressed, but you also deal with people that, especially in this city, that are dealing with severe, you know, mental health episodes. And that could be very dangerous, not only for the patient, but for the people responding to the issue. So it's a tough job. It's really dangerous. This is the Chrysler building here. But we will make a left towards 270 Park Avenue, and I think this will be a good place to end it. So if you guys enjoyed the stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Click the subscribe button if you're new. If you want to be signed up to receive all of our free research on the equity market, real estate market, fixed income, all of it, you can scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, where every other Thursday after the market closes, you'll be signed up to receive our Behind the Street newsletter, or you could type !news, N-E-W-S, and in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link to our Substack. Over the next coming weeks, we're going to be posting all of our property tours, so all of the new and exciting listings that we get in New York City, they will be exclusively on the newsletter. So if you want to stay in tune with some of the trophy listings that we're going to get, definitely connect with us over there. But guys, most importantly, have a safe, relaxing, and rejuvenating weekend. I really do much appreciate all of the support, and we will be back here live tomorrow at 8:30. Hopefully we'll be walking across the Brooklyn Bridge tomorrow night. So guys, take care, have a great weekend. Thank you for joining Walks on Wall Street, and we'll see you in the next one. Always a bull market somewhere, you just need to know where to look. Jonathan, thanks so much. Steph UF, Abdullah, Richard Vogel, Mona M, Colton Manning, Lori, Christy, NBA Elias, Stephen Bates, Sharon, fascinating, Hawaii. Guys, take care. We will see you all later.